All right, guys, welcome to another edition of Appointed Outdoors VC. I am extremely excited about our guest today. He's known as the Bear Whisperer. He is an icon in the hunting industry. I'm extremely excited to have him here. Someone who I respect and enjoy watching his work. So, Blaine, welcome. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today. So, please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you got going on right now.
Hey, what's going on, man? And everybody else that's watching, both of you that's watching.
Yes, sir.
We got man, I don't know. I do this for a living. Unlike most guys, honestly, most guys got a day job and then they spend all their money on their day job on their TV job. I do this for a living. I don't got a whole lot to say. If you don't watch my show, you got no clue who I am. But watch my show. If anybody will tell you, there's a lot of people that say they show it real and talk it real. I show it real and talk it real 100% of the time. It's kind of like my stick. There's only so many baby bears you want to see me hold and so many bears you want to see get killed with a donut in its mouth. Right. So we focus on, my show is really a lot about the hunting industry. And making fun of the silly things we all do for a sponsor, the silly things we all do to try to make ourselves look better than we are. And in reality, I'm no different than you and this guy watching and that guy watching. The only difference is I got a person with a camera behind me. That's right. It. So we like to expose the hunting industry. That would be a good word. I just come up with that.
Right. Well, man, if you haven't had a chance to check him out, please do so. But I mean, I have watched plenty of your material, and I like the realness. I think that's the one thing that has drawn me. And having the ability to be able to talk to you at ATA a few years ago, and then this past show here at the PA show. I mean, I just respect you, and I enjoy you and what you do. So. Let me ask you a couple questions, man. And
sure.
You could just give us. Obviously, we get the straightforward answer from you, so that's the cool thing.
You will.
That's the awesome part. So, all right, man. So, if you could live anywhere in the United States right now, all right, where would it be, and what would you be hunting?
If I could live, I'll be honest, man. If you watch the show, I hate to fly and. Living in Maine currently, I have to fly everywhere, except if I want to go bear hunting, or if I get lucky every 20 years to get drawn for a moose. So I would really try to put myself somewhere in the middle of the United States where I could strategically get anywhere in under 12 hours. That would be my goal. So I think it would be kind of like that, Kentucky, South Carolina, kind of. I can get to Indiana, I can get to Florida, I can get to Texas, and I can do it all. And I can drive everywhere I go. I think that if there's one thing I really dislike is I dislike flying. So I would try to stay in that vicinity. I got to be honest, I've visited, I feel like every state, and I don't hate any of them. You know what I mean? So I may be partial to states that have less liberal gun laws.
Right? Yeah. That last video explained that, right?
California, for instance,
right.
That might drive me a little bonkers. I'd have to sit out on the streets with picket signs every week, and I'd never have time to hunt. But generally speaking, I think anywhere southeast, but staying as far west as I could go, even southern Ohio, great spot, man. You can just get anywhere. You can drive almost anywhere. So that would be kind of my goal. Being in the business, it wouldn't matter. I couldn't pick one state and say, oh, I could film all my hunts here. Because even if it was Texas where you really could fill all of your hunts in one state, people would just get bored of your show. Mm-hmm. Okay, here comes the deer. He's eating corn. You killed it. What's next? Right. It's going to be the same thing, but maybe it's an access deer or something. So I got to travel. I do this for a living. And I'm very big on the business side and viewership. And maintaining, I believe at some point, right now we're not there, but I believe at some point when you call a sponsor for money, the first question will be, send us your ratings.
Right.
And I honestly hope it gets there because I've been so focused on the business model and what airtimes get good ratings, and then, you know, being able to capture the viewer and keep them there. And that's really my focus on the business end of things. That way your sponsors get the most for their money. If they watch your show, they watch your show. I mean, you can watch, you know, the best shows in the world, but if nobody's watching, who cares?
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, you know, all these guys that have something TV, and they have a YouTube channel and gets 200 views, and 180 of those views is his mom and their dad.
Right.
They're not helping the sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so so yeah. I mean, I'm a business guy more than anything else. I mean, the hunting industry is just, even today, even with all the joke videos I've made in the past and so on and so forth, you know, people still think it's about hunting and what an awesome hunter they are, and they need to be on TV and someone needs to pay them. And that's just not reality. Right. You got to be a good
business savvy
businessman. Right. Exactly. Right. I've always said, if hunting was a prerequisite to be on TV, they wouldn't let me watch it. Right. Forget about being on it. Right. You know, so I go to hunting camp. I'm always the worst hunter in camp. But you can find ways to entertain people. You can find, you know, if you can figure out how to be you in front of the camera and not the 99.9% of everybody that's on TV that acts like a TV guy, you'll do just fine.
Well, good. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that insight. All right. So another one, I had some guys hit me up. They want to know, and I want to hear you more. I know you and I talked, I don't know, several weeks ago about it, but the Gorilla Squad. So people are interested in that. They were like, hey, man, ask him this. We want to know more about it. So here's a great opportunity, I think, one, for me to learn more about it, but you to be able to tell people who are watching about it.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Gorilla Squad, I truly believe might end up being the most awesome show that in our stable, to be honest with you. And the reason being is that there is no sponsors. And I say that a little bit lightly because we have people coming on board that are going to offer discounts to our pro staff. Right. So, you know, Viking crossbows and Element Outdoors clothing. And so we'll get all of these people on there. So they'll have the same pro staff benefits that they'd have being with anybody else. But so, Blaine, how do you do that? Right. How do you run a TV show with no sponsors? That's what everybody wants to do. You know, at the end of the day, to put it simply, you know, the pro staff is the sponsors. They run this show. They're all paying $50 a month to be part of the show. And that is basically how it works. That's how we're paying the TV networks. That's how we're paying the editors. That's how we're paying for closed captioning. All those $50 a month add up. And a lot of people might be sitting out there going, oh my gosh, man, that's, you know, $650 a year, or whatever they're thinking, like, so I could be pro staff. Dude, this is a reality. You know it. I know it. This is a reality. You want to come be part of the Hitmen pro staff that has sponsors, and I'm going to require you to buy a bow. And I'm going to require you to buy a specific gun, a specific scope mount, shoot a specific bullet, a specific arrow, a specific broadhead. I'm going to force you to do it, or else your footage ain't getting on TV.
Exactly. Right.
You are going to spend thousands of dollars and probably end up shooting something you don't even want to be shooting. You want to be shooting your Expedition, your Matthews, your, you know, what you love to shoot. But if you're my pro staff, you can't shoot that anymore. Absolutely. I'm going to might force you to shoot a bow that you don't like, you're not comfortable for. So when you think about it that way, $650 is peanuts.
It's not that bad. Yep.
Because you're going to spend $650 on a new bow. And then you need new arrows, and then you need a new gun, and then you need new broadheads, and you're replacing everything. To be a pro staff on anybody's pro staff, it's going to cost you money.
Right.
That's it. It's not what people, you don't have free stuff being chucked at you. I mean, now, but look at this. You can call Muzzy if you want. You can call Ramcat if you want and say, hey, man, I'm on Gorilla Squad. Send me some free broadheads, and they'll appear on the show.
Because everybody likes free, right?
Exactly. Now you're getting free broadheads. You call Carbon Express, you call Black Eagle Arrows and say, send me some free arrows. They'll appear on the show. Right. You have the ability to go out and get all the free stuff you want. You're not relying on me to get you anything free. You can just go out and ask for free stuff yourself. So believe me when I tell you, most of the Gorilla Squad right now, they've more than paid for their $50 a month because they got a free bow from that guy.
Right.
And they got a free, you know, that paid for it right there. and they're still shooting what they want to shoot. So every opinion, everything you see is real. I can't think of a single show that's like that. Not a single one. Everybody else gets paid to shoot something. And you're going to tell them it's awesome. If you want to get that $50,000 check, you will. So,
right. Right.
Paid to do anything. They're going to shoot what they want to shoot, and you'll get honest opinions. So you're going to see stuff that's never been seen on any other TV show.
All right. All right, guys. So there you go, man. If you guys want your opportunity to get your stuff possibly televised and just use what you use, that's a good opportunity for you to jump on board here with Blaine and the Gorilla Squad. So, hey, man, thank you so much again with that. I appreciate that. What would you say now? I know you probably have a lot of them, and you've done a lot of things in the industry. But what would you say is your greatest accomplishment as far as in the hunting industry itself? Is it creating a new show or creating multiple shows? Is it being able to have this as a profession?
I would say to have this as a profession is everybody's dream, and most people never achieve it, right? Because they never truly understand that this is about business. Right. They're not a businessman. They're a great hunter.
Yeah.
So you have to get into the business side of things if you want to be successful. That's that. Or you got to have a rich daddy that can just write bills and nobody cares. And that's a large part of the industry. I call the Billionaire Boys Club.
Right.
You see, sponsored by Under Armour and Loophole. They're not sponsoring them. They got a free scope, but you assume they're sponsoring them. They're flipping the bill themselves. Let me get away from that. So I would say, the biggest accomplishment for me was, I struggled and I sweated, and I had my buddy Kevin Pruitt and Brad Carter. We 3 guys, we all started this together, and we're all 3 still friends. You're so delusional when you start. It's almost unbelievable in your brain. When I started, a list of 8 sponsors that were going to sponsor my show. Mossy, Loophole. Dude, it doesn't work that way. As anybody that's ever tried this knows, it doesn't work that way. Sorry, we advertising budget. So so I think getting to the point where I went, okay, this is a business. I'm going to have to work to do this, and getting there. But that moment, and I can't describe when it was, I can describe the very first moment, which was back in probably 2008, walking into a Home Depot. I see this maybe 8-year-old kid sprinting across the parking lot and just stopped and looked up at me like I was Brad Pitt.
Right.
The greatest on the planet, couldn't breathe, could barely speak, and was just like, I love your show, and I see a lot of hunting shows, but I watch yours, and I record it. And then his dad eventually comes over and is like, dude, he records it and watches it 40 times in a row.
Wow.
And that turned out to be a thing with youth. And, that day, and then realizing and it's still coming today, I have a pile of young fans, and knowing that I'm inspiring these guys.
Right.
That's probably, without a doubt, my greatest moment, where I feel, even when I'm at ATA, even when I'm at Harrisburg, the kids, man, I have a huge kids fan base, and I'm sure that revolves a lot around the Cubs and me being funny. And I do have, it's not a bad habit. I kind of live my life as a 5-year-old, the way I act.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they just relate to me like, oh, he must be my age. So yeah, I think for me, that's it. Every time I see a kid, man, I go out of my way. I've driven 200 miles to meet a kid that, I don't. And because, I want to show them that this is a great way of life, not being on TV, but what we do and how fun this is. I think that too many of the TV shows are out there just trying way too hard to impress people, right? They're going across rivers with face paint on, and they got their bow above their head, and they're running that B-roll, and it's all bull dinky. Don't look like fun to me, and I'm 53.
Right.
I got
right.
What I mean? I try to bring the fun back, and when I started realizing it was working, and I was getting youths, and I was getting women and wives, and just like, that guy's just having a blast. I want to go hunting with that guy. And then if they do end up in hunting camp with me, they go, there's no other version of you. You're exactly the same guy I watch on TV. And I go, yeah, we're here to have fun.
Right.
Anything. So that that, you know, without getting off on a rampage, I would say accidentally falling into having a massive youth base from 5 to 21-year-old, you know, fans that are hardcore, and being able to get messages from them, you know, as far as I never even thought about hunting before. And now I hunt I can't wait for hunting season. Come on, man. Who doesn't ever want to hear?
Right.
You know, they watch to see the baby cubs. They continued to watch to see the hunting. And then we turned them into a natural harvester of meat.
Right.
And better than that, those are my favorite emails and calls and all that stuff.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, you can't definitely not take care of the youth for sure. So with what you were just saying about the sponsorships and stuff, you know, like with someone just trying to get into all this, and I mean, I've been doing it now for 3 or 4 years, and I kind of understand it. But like with people that are coming in, you know, when you call these companies and you're saying, hey, I want to represent your brand and those kind of things, but you get that what makes you different, that you're not going to lie. You know what I mean? It's so many people have burnt bridges in this that, you know, for you to sit there in front of that or on that phone call with somebody to say, I'm different, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. You know, it's so hard to get them to believe that. And I've actually tried to help a few people get into it, but it's that same line, you know what I mean? And then, like, I love it. I breathe it. I get in it. I mean, I enjoy doing the branding part of it and the business part of it, you know, and that's something in me, but it's so hard for people to do that and to get into that when you hear that, what makes you the guy that didn't lie to me the last time? Click. You know what I mean? So,
well, we got to talk about a job when this is all over, by the way, if you love it.
I mean, I'm sorry. I do. You can ask my wife. She's upstairs right now. If she came down here, she would tell you. I mean, it's something in me that I can't stop. I don't know. I mean, I love the hunting part of it. I love the business part of it.
And that's 90% of it, bro. So, I mean, you kind of have it licked. But to your point, you know, I always say, like, when someone's calling me for the first time and they're telling me how awesome they're going to be because they kill 200-inch mule deer and they're one of a kind, and I go, yeah. So here's the thing: companies have advertising budgets, and they max them out every year. I don't care if it's heater bodysuit, quality archery designs; they max them out every year. So I ask you, my friend, what are you going to do if you can call Dan or Kevin over at Quality Archery Designs? What exactly are you going to say to them with your mouth that makes them cancel me and give you my money?
Right.
What are you going to say?
Yeah.
I've been to Bible study with the owner. I've been to prayer sessions in bear camp with the owners and all the employees. There's nothing you can say. There's a saying I will say, and everybody watching right now can say it for the rest of their lives. It's not how good your show, it's who you know.
Right.
And having a great show or killing big deer is awesome. But here's the problem. In today's society with YouTube and social media, there are plenty of guys out there killing 200-inch whitetail. I'm not one of them. But they're out killing 200-inch legit Illinois and Iowa whitetail that will do that for a free knife.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to get money out of that guy? Right. So at the end of the day, so here's the best advice I can give. And this is the truth. Unfortunately, nobody wants to do it because they're arrogant, right? They're I'm better than Blaine Anthony. Right. Exactly. I'm better than Blaine Anthony. And you might be, but you just ain't got the business part of it down yet. Mm-hmm. Right. So I think my favorite thing is I'm the second best guy on TV, and they go, who's first? I go, everybody else, just ask them.
Right. Right.
It's a true story. So, but here's the bottom line. If you're just starting out in your first 3 years, I'm going to say, and you're starting a TV show, you've signed the contract with the network, you know, go build relationships. Don't go build money. Call Matthews, call Corinne over at Matthews, send her an email, work up man, when you got their cell phone number, you did something. You're still not getting any money, but you did something when you can, on December 25th, send them a Merry Christmas text.
Right. Relationship.
Right. That relationship. You build a relationship with those people. In the meantime, if you're smart, to get your show paid for, the dude that the Jiffy Lube oil change place that changes your oil, 10 grand ain't nothing to them for advertising. The guy where you bought your new truck, they spend $3,000 a day in the newspaper.
Right.
10 grand is nothing for those guys. The problem is they just can't get. True story. I'm going to tell you from this year, eating Chinese food where I always eat Chinese food. And the guy comes over, he has a Chinese accent, and he's Chinese. He's, what do you do for a living? I appreciate your business. But I said, I got TV shows. I produce TV shows. He's like, really? I said, yeah. He says, oh, that must be nice. Just be on TV. And I said, no. We got to sell advertising. Oh, sell me advertising. What do you got?
Ding.
We got what's called a billboard ad. We put your billboard on the screen and we say the name of your Chinese food restaurant. And he's, how much is that? I said, $5,000 for 6 months. And he goes, sign me up. I said, go get your check, homie. He went and got the check, wrote me a $5,000 check while I was eating Chinese food.
And that's it. Yeah.
I got no pride. This is a business.
That's exactly
He's
right.
Get what he pays for.
Right.
And you know what the cool is? People are going to walk into his place and they're going to say, I saw your ad on the freaking Bear Whisperer.
Right.
That was, and in his mind, that guy's there because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's, stop with the Cabela's and the Matthews and the Bass Pro Shops are going to give you stupid, polite emails. Sorry, we've used our advertising budget. Code word for no. Check with us next year. You're going to go to ATA. People are going to be wicked polite to you. You're going to say, I got that all wrapped up. You don't. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't. Go local, man. I had a tanning salon as a sponsor year 2. They're paying me $15,000 a year. A tanning salon. That's where the money's at. That's
right.
No money for guys. They're not getting hit up by anybody. So you can make them a TV commercial, air their TV commercial that's where the money's at. But for some reason, 95% of everybody watching right now that wants to start a hunting show is going to hang up and they're going to call Matthews and Cabela's and Bass Pro, and they're literally wasting their time. I'm not going to say the company, but I was at SHOT Show with a company who used to sponsor my show. We're still really, really good friends. And company, top 3 optics company, I'll say that. And so I'm like, dude, how do you handle this? The SHOT Show had been going on for 2 days. He had 215 media packs on his desk.
I'm sure.
I go, what do you do with these? He slid over a garbage can and pushed them all in. I'd have to hire a full-time employee to go through media packs.
Right.
I mean, it's insanity. So, what can you do? Almost nothing, right? So build relationships while you're on TV. Get financed by car dealers and contractors and window companies and all your local companies that do millions of dollars a year in sales. Those guys will pay you $10,000 to get you out of their office. And
right.
Is you're going to do so. I have a log home company. Ask them. They sell a couple log homes a year. You know what I mean? Which is $250,000. They don't mind paying me $20,000. They'll make that swap.
Right.
So that works. It just turns into more and more and more. Then in the meantime, you're building yourself up. Look, Expedition and Matthews and Bowtech, they all know when you start a TV show, your odds of going off air by year 4 is almost 90%.
Right.
Which means if they send you free bows, odds are they've just wasted them because the value is in the guy hanging around a long time. So when they send a free bow to a Bucky, they gamble that you'll stay in this industry long enough.
Right.
Right. Otherwise, it's not worth it because 2 years later after you got that bow is when the real value for them starts. So, and they have all this information.
Right.
So nobody likes to sponsor a real show. I mean, I think Matthews, if I'm not mistaken, they say come back to us in year 3.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's persistence and longevity for sure.
Right. Yep.
Yep. All right. So let's get away for a little bit from the industry kind of stuff and talk to me about your fascination with 8-points.
With what?
With 8-point bucks.
Oh, 8-point, but I don't know.
I mean, that is like your number one thing, isn't it? I mean, you'll pass up a 220-inch 10-point for an 8-point.
All day, dude. 220-inch 12-point comes in, 150-inch 8-point. That 8 points. I don't even look at that 200.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what. I mean, I think it's probably something that happened in my past. Growing up hunting. Now, when I say growing up hunting, ask me how I got started in the hunting industry. Your viewers really want to hear this one.
Right.
It's not what you think it is. So, being in the hunting industry, I think something must have happened, traumatized my brain to want 8 points.
Yeah.
Like my goal was, I think year before last, I finally shot a 140-inch 8-point, 141. And now my goal is 145-inch 8-point. And you're absolutely right. I'll take that 145-inch 8-point over any 200-inch deer walking in the woods.
Right.
It's just, they're so sexy. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Oh, that's good though, man. That's I was watching one of your Texas hunts and you just kept hitting that 8-point, 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 and it just stuck in my head. And I'm like, every time I see you now, it's like, this guy's the Mr. 8, he ain't the Bear Whisperer no more.
Yeah. You got them call bucks, I'm your man.
Right? Yeah, right. All right, homie. Well, I won't keep you too much longer, but I do want to, with Appointed Outdoors and how the thing that I do, I know God's a big thing in my life. And I know we were talking about prayer and everything. If you don't mind me asking you how he fits in your life, and that would be awesome if you could share that.
I'll tell you, man, and I don't want to scare people by saying this because I go out of my way to show people that they can just live a regular life and be with Jesus, be with God every single day. So I will just tell you my story. So I got a speech. And keep in mind, I grew up Catholic, son. We're talking First Communion. Right. I went through every ritual there was. And I still say, when people say, I say I'm Catholic, but I'm a Catholic that understands. I'll just put it that way. So at 24, I was with a Baptist pastor on his sofa, hanging out, going to that church, learning. And I was a bad kid, man. I mean, I was a really bad kid. That day I had total breakdown, crying, like the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like I felt like 2 seconds ago I could have died and went to hell. And I was a Catholic, like I was supposed to learn Latin, it goes on and on. So, but here's the thing that I want, at least for me, I think everybody has a different experience, right? At the end of the day. Mm-hmm. From that very day, without effort, without thinking, my life changed. But it's not what people think it is. It wasn't like I woke up and went, hallelujah, the Lord has touched me. Man, let me tell you something. Living your life one way, and keep in mind, I lived my childhood, my teens, right up to when I was 24 years old, a certain way, right? My way. I didn't know there was another way.
Right.
But I woke up the next morning and planned on doing nothing. I'm not going to change my life. Bro, it happens automatically. Blessings start falling on you. I mean, falling on you. So I guess for the sake of better words, I never changed my life. God changed my life, right? But not to something I didn't want. He changed it to everything I wanted, right? Something that I don't believe a human being can obtain themselves, right? This feeling. So when people say, what has, which I don't know if that was your question, what has God done for you today? My answer is, what has God done for me over the past 30 years?
Exactly.
It's every single day, bro. Like, I don't have one answer. I don't have one situation where I can go, oh, this is great because every day is great for me now, which it wasn't before that day, right? So I don't have one moment. And if you watch my show and you hang out with me, I'm as normal as a guy as you'd ever want to meet. I'm not throwing Bibles at you, not gonna. I think that everybody's got a place. I love to listen to Joe Sir. I don't know if you know Joe Sir, Hallowed Ground Outdoors. He'd be a good one to have on your show. Yeah. But this industry is, and I think a lot of people sitting out back don't realize this either. This industry is loaded with Christians. Mm-hmm. When I say that I went to Bible study and had prayer sessions with Quality Archery Design, I didn't fly to Virginia and go to a church. This was in bear camp.
Right.
Playing guitars full on. You know what I mean? So that, for me, it's just part of life. And it's like I don't know. I guess if you're not, the best way I could describe it is you're sitting there and you're depressed and nothing just ever seems to go your way just the way you want it. But you know $1 million would solve all your problems. It's like someone dropped $1 million in your lap. Even though $1 million will never solve your problems, right, but it's everything you think it would do.
Right.
So
well, you look at,
I don't know, I feel blessed. What's that?
Kind of hearing your story, I think, you know, you were in that position of, you know, down and out, and just by accepting it and changing your view on that specific scenario that you had in your life, you begin to look at things a different way. So
absolutely.
I mean, you were looking at all the negative, and it changed overnight because you had that mental change that God gave you to start looking at the positives and start looking at the things in your life that you could to be, and then he started blessing you in different ways. So it started absolutely to go a different direction. So that's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that. A lot of people won't say that, you know what I mean? And
yeah, I mean, it
speaks volumes.
You know, to me, it's so simple. And that's really what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, if I'm talking to someone, my cameraman, my old cameraman, I won't say his name, but my old cameraman, I can't get my arms around it. I can't get my arms around it. I just don't get it. Sorry, man. And so that poor guy had to go through some preaching.
Yeah.
We were traveling in cars. But, you know, I think in the end, you know, I'm not asking you to change anything. Mm-hmm. Continue to do everything you do. Whatever your plans were for tomorrow, you go on with that. You know, being saved and bringing God into your heart doesn't have anything to do with changing your life. It's just adding to your life. You don't have to anything in your, so yeah, you're right. You know, the next day, everything has changed. The way you see everything has changed. It's not like he gave me $1 million. I still had to wake up the next day. Absolutely. As a unemployed guy that, you know, just, you know, all my thoughts, I don't know, hard to explain, but I guess my point is that if you become saved, and if I'm talking to someone out there, you have to do nothing. Nothing needs to change. You can wear the same clothes. You don't need to talk a certain way. You don't need to go door to door with a Bible. You don't need to do anything except what you did yesterday. Everything happens automatically. At least it did for me. There was zero effort.
Yeah,
zero.
I mean, it's really just a mindset and something that believing in your heart, you know, and accepting it. You don't have to change. You know, I mean, obviously, if you're doing crazy bad things, you got to change. But you know,
but it will change. That's my thing. You don't have to try anymore.
Right. It'll start coming out.
Like for me, I didn't have to. I didn't have to try. It just automatically happened, and that was that. So.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, man. I know you're a busy dude. And for you to do this for me and to be with me and spend some time, I appreciate it so much. And I look up to you and respect you. And hopefully
we'll do another one, bro. We didn't even come close.
Well, I'm just saying.
Next one, you can tell me how I got in the hunting industry.
Right. All right.
That's a really good one.
If you want to spill it, go ahead. I mean, we got time. I just don't want to hold you up. I think we got time. Let's get it. Tell us.
In case you were wondering, the coronavirus. I got nowhere to go.
Right.
I'll tell real quick, and I've never hidden this, right? I'm a straight shooter. So I'm going to say I'm 24, probably about that same age. I am in a massive Texas Hold'em competition. Massive. I'm upstairs, dingy lights, smoke everywhere. Dude, I can't even remember. I'm holding the hand of all hands. I'm about to take everybody's money. But I got this one guy across the table that says, nah, you're beat, bro. So he puts in all of this money. I can't match his money. And I'm like, I don't even know how to play this good, but I need all your money. And he said, well, I'll tell you what. Now, a little preface before we get into that. I was not a hunter. I could not. I moved up from New Jersey, and I'm straight up suit wearing city boy, work for Dale Carnegie. City boy. Why would you ever want to kill one of them beautiful critters?
Right.
He looks across the table and he says, I'll tell you what, I'll cover your bet. If I win, you go hunting with me tomorrow morning. And I went, bro, you're not winning. So long story short, I lose. I got to go hunting with this cat.
Right.
Got to go to Rite Aid, buy a hunting license, the whole thing. Dude, I'm not kidding. I found an orange jumpsuit. I knew for sure I was getting shot. I knew for sure.
Right.
So we go in the woods. He stands probably 200 yards off to my right. I'm sitting in snow, and I'm drawing smiley faces, ADDs in full effect. And I'm like, why would anybody do this? This is the stupidest thing. So I stood up and I said, I'm going to get alone. I'm not hunting. I turn around, and there was a deer up on top of this hill, probably 125 yards away. Not skyline, but about halfway up. And I went, you know that feeling, right? Mm-hmm. Overwhelmed. And I'm like, you know, the shakes happen. Boom, shoot the deer. It runs down, dies 20 yards from me. You know, the guy teaches me how to gut it out. I'm puking the whole time I'm gutting, mind you. Like, this is how bad I was. So we get the whole thing back to his house. Keep in mind, I'm 24, 25 years old. I never hunted in my life. I didn't grow up with granddaddy hunting. That never happened. And so I'm standing over the deer, and my brother-in-law looks over at me. He goes, so what do you think, man? And I go, at the time I owned 4 computer stores. And I said, I am going to figure out how to do this for a living. This is the only thing that can make you feel like you're winning the winning touchdown at the Super Bowl.
Right.
That I know of. And I'm going to figure out a way to do this for a living. Within 30 days, all the computer stores were closed. I started traveling the country until I got dead broke. Deer hunting, bear hunting, went out with biologists. Like, I wanted to know everything there was to know. I promise you, I killed more deer that first year than most people kill their entire life. I went to every state. I went bonkos. It took about 2 years. And then I became a guide. Then I started guiding. And then I was watching TV one day, and I went, these guys stink. I think like everybody does. I need to start a TV show. So 2 of my guiding clients, I said, let's start a TV show. They're like, yeah, let's do that. So we started the TV show, and that's how the whole thing started. But I'm not one of these guys that grew up with granddaddy in the woods, you know, making moonshine or whatever people did. You know what I mean? I was a city slicker, straight up city slicker in one day. And I preach that on my show all the time because I want people that judge me to say, you're allowed to judge me when you come hunting with me. You don't have to kill anything. Just come hunting.
Right.
And then see how it feels when it's you and that animal, mano y mano.
Yep.
And then you can judge me. Right. So, yeah, I'm walking, talking proof, man. It can overdo your life for sure, man. For
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, there you go. The Bear Whisperer himself. I appreciate again your time, buddy. And hopefully this is not the last time. Hopefully sometime here real soon we can get, you know, whether it's just a phone call or an email or a text or something, man. I'd love to keep
hook me up, man.
I appreciate you.
All right, buddy. Stay safe.
Thank you so much. Yes,
everybody stay safe.
Absolutely. All right, guys. There you go. Hope you enjoyed this cast. We'll get back to you on another one later.